So just a disclaimer, the following story contains details of violence and assault and could be disturbing to sensitive viewers. 19-year-old Luvo Gqaza appeared briefly in the Kuils River Magistrate's Court in Cape Town on Thursday. He is charged with assault with intent to do grievous bodily harm as well as contravention of the Older Persons Act. In the video, the teenager is seen in a verbal exchange with his grandmother and goes on to assault her. The victim, who is receiving treatment in hospital for an unrelated ailment, says she does not want the teen to be granted bail. The case was postponed to the 19th of July as the teenager remains in police custody on suicide watch. Let's speak now to Age in Action, the South African Council for the Aged, supervising social worker in the area where the assault took place, about the possible interventions to prevent such occurrences in communities. Sashma Bergman joins us now for more. Good morning, Sashma, and thank you so much for your time.
Good morning. How are you all doing in the studio?
Highly disturbed by this particular story, as probably as the whole of South Africa. But had it not been for social media and that video reaching the level that it did in terms of going viral, I fear that we may never have known of the abuse of this elderly lady. How prevalent is the problem of abuse, particularly of the elderly, in your region, Sashma?
That is so true. If it wasn't for social media and, people reporting on this, we would have never known about it. We do get a lot of cases called into our offices, which is based in the CBD, where people they call in it as abuse, they report abuse. However, we do find that not all of them are cases like these. Most of the time when we do the investigation, after it's reported, we do the investigation and we would find that it's sibling rivalry over property and personal gain. And that's the sad part about it all. The actual abuse cases never really filters through or come through to us so that we can really deal with this situation. So yes, we do get a lot of abuse cases. However, after investigation, only finding that it's some family dispute, and then little of these actual cases are being dealt with.
That's very disturbing, as we've heard the Social Development Department noting the worrying habit, particularly of family members' reluctance to report such cases of abuse of the elderly. What has been your experience on the ground, Sashma, with the cases that you have dealt with? What are the reasons behind this reluctance?
Well, we can say the reason for the reluctance would be, the image out there, people wanting to protect, and because it's seniors, they were our past leaders. They were leaders in their communities, in their churches, in their environment, even in their own home. They were the leaders. Now they are being victimized, and their power's been taken away. So it's embarrassing for someone that's been in leadership position now almost being like demoted in terms of they don't have their power anymore because it's been taken away by the younger generation.
That is quite incredible. So, I mean, this speaks to almost like a protection of their reputation in society, if I'm hearing you correctly.
We find that a lot, yes.
Yeah.
That is the reason why we do reach out.
Yeah, let's talk about your outreach programs, particularly with a view to talk about the possible interventions to prevent such occurrences. Firstly, how did we even get here? Not speaking specifically to the case of Luvo, but from the cases that you have seen, how does it come to be that a child, any child, can actually grow up to abuse in any shape or form their grandmother, over and above the family politics?
Doing the work in the community, we work together with DSD and we try and do programs. But the people that we reach, I think that is where the communication comes in, is mostly the seniors, because we work with senior clubs. So we go out into the communities, identify the clubs, and we share this help information with them where you can find help. But as we always say to the club members is, we're sharing this information with you, not just for you. Please share it in your communities, in where you go, in your churches and places of worship, wherever you go, so that as many as possible people reach or get it by ear that there is an organization like Age in Action that has social workers that reaches out and want to come and assist. So I'll say the how we've come to this whole problem with teens actually get to this is focused on drug abuse, poverty, our social economic system. It really puts a strain on our people and our society.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit more about your organization, Age in Action, and the role that it plays, particularly the importance of this to the elderly.
So, Age in Action is based in Cape Town. We cover the whole Western Cape. We have two offices, one in George and one in Lambert's Bay as well, whereas each of those offices has a social worker and a social auxiliary worker. Um, Age in Action in the city, we have 4 social workers, which covers the metro. And then we have me as the social worker for Overberg and a social worker for Boerland. With us is 5 social auxiliary workers. They normally do the programs. We do the social workers do the one-on-one intervention when reports come in. The social auxiliary workers will do the programs with the city, with DSD, and the senior clubs. And then we have our supervisor, the one that you were in contact with, and then our director, Irene Snell-Carroll.
All right. So I understand that you are yet to visit the family of the elderly lady who is the victim of this abuse in the case of Luvo Gqaza. Is there anything you can tell us about the possible support that you may be able to provide her?
So as soon as we saw this on social media, which we just once again want to thank people sharing, not to dehumanize the person, but just to create awareness so that we can see what's going on there, because we can't intervene if it's not reported. We won't know about it. So we want to thank social media and the news, the journalists that actually posted this, and for bringing it to our attention, because the first thing we did when we were that, my supervisor was on it. She phoned Kraaifontein police station. She phoned DSD, wanting to know what the interventions are and what happened, the address, the details. And as soon as she got it, was passed to me, because Kraaifontein is one of many areas that I render services in. And as soon as we got the information, we wanted to know what's happening. When we heard about the court date, we've already contacted the court to find out if I could attend that court hearing, because seeing that it's so public and out in the media, the court will probably have a closed court in a case like that. So we don't know yet, but I would want to offer support to the family, especially to the granny, seeing that she's fearing for her life. Going home back into the surrounding where the incident happened could be very traumatizing. And because of our people cannot afford psychologists and psychologists to pay for trauma and things. So what we do in these cases where people are traumatized, we do connect, because we're not on an island. We connect with all our resources. So we will connect with the local church or her place of worship and find out if there is counseling available for her when she is released. But also find out from her and the family what support we can offer them, what is it that they need from us.
A snippet of the abuse of the victim in question has been circulating on social media, and of course any form of abuse of an elderly person or anyone is a travesty. But could you also share with us how severe some of these cases have gotten with the abuse of the elderly? Any case that you can paint a picture for us?
Wow, it gets worse than what we've seen. Not undermining what happened, that in itself, it was traumatizing, but it do get more severe, whereas in people, our seniors are left isolated, alone, locked up in homes, trying to just fight for themselves, for survival, and without even just the violence, just being, when you grow old and the body can't do what it used to do,
Yeah.
deteriorating with all kind of illnesses and generative diseases, they can't do the things that they used to do for themselves anymore. And family members are like really just neglecting. The neglect and abandonment are the severe part of having these people locked up in their homes alone, fighting, trying to survive by just even doing basic needs for themselves.
Oh, Sashma, you are doing the Lord's work. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, one of the other things that we also have is the SASSA grant.
Okay.
You will see even in this story, the SASSA grant was the trigger. People are going for a senior SASSA grant all the time. That amount is allocated by government just for one person, not to sustain a household, not for school fees and school shoes and everything else that goes with it. It's just that amount is just sufficient for one person alone. And unfortunately, many seniors are having to share their pension money with the whole family, sustaining households of 5 to 6 people, if it's not more.
Thank you for highlighting that. That was a social worker from Age in Action, Sashma Bergman.